Welcome, ladies. Thank you so much for joining. Tonight, we're going to be talking about ourselves and how to connect to who we are and our essence. So the thing is that we have all different roles in our life. Some of us are mothers, some of us are daughters. We work, we're leaders, we're psychologists to some people, mother, sisters. So we have different roles. And the thing is that even though we have so many roles, we have to realize that we were brought into this world for a purpose, for a specific mission. And we have to see, what is that purpose? What am I here to do? And in order to do that, the priority needs to be the inner self. The inner self needs to be the priority. So people in society will say, well, that's selfish. You can't think of yourself so much because, we have to be selfless and give to other people. On the contrary, it is not a contradiction to focus on your inner self. It's not pride. It's self-care and self-development. It's actually a precursor to making a difference in the world and making a difference in the people's lives around you. When we don't feel 100%, and I'm sure that we all felt that way, we're not 100%, we can't do our best and we can't be at our best. So we owe it to ourselves and our families to take care of our bodies. Some people don't even pay attention to what their bodies are telling them because we didn't choose our bodies. Hashem gave it to us. And whenever we don't choose something, then we have a hard time connecting to it. So that's why we consciously have to connect to our body and see and pay attention to what it's telling us. So the first thing is to appreciate your health. We're all given health. And for us to appreciate every single thing and every moment that is being carried by Hashem, it is something to be thankful for. The simple belief that change is possible is what is separating the people who grow from the people who don't. So I want to share a little story about why I'm doing this class and why I chose this. First of all, these teachings are from Harabanit Chasya. She gave this workshop in Hebrew. So I wanted to share that with others. The past 2 months, I've been actually going through a lot of stress. And the definition of stress is actually unrealistic expectations from others or from the self. So we give ourselves these expectations that we cannot stand by. So I've been holding on to those expectations I gave to myself and people that I expected from me. And it brought me to have a lot of health issues. And it's been roller coasting, snowballing, one after the other. I ended up in the hospital. And while I was in the hospital and they were doing all the testing, they told me that I'm going to need to have surgery, an emergency surgery. And because I wasn't feeling well earlier, my body was not strong enough to handle such a procedure. And I said, I'm going to join a group called Nishmat Kol Chai, which I am a part of, Baruch Hashem, on a daily basis. And from the hospital room, I joined this group, and we were reading Nishmat Kol Chai, the Hillel prayers for the hostages, for the soldiers, and it was just so moving that I said, Hashem, you are here, you send me here, and I'm going to serve you from where I am, from this hospital bed. That's where I'm going to serve you. So, with all the medication, I went to sleep, and in my dream, I saw myself on a train heading north, and I'm on this train, and we got to stop. I heard in the loudspeaker saying, we arrived at paradise. So everyone's walking to the right, and I'm following them. All of a sudden, I hear my name, Mazal. That's not your spot. You have to go to the left and go back. It was very strange. So in my dream, I followed and I took a train back. And when I woke up, the surgeon came into my room and he told me, okay, we scheduled your surgery and it's gonna happen, later in the day. I turned to him, I said, doctor, is there any other test that I can do? He looked at me, he looked at his assistant, he said, yeah, there's a test called the HIDA test, a test I've never heard of before. It was basically the last resort, they don't even offer it. So he agreed to do that, and they still scheduled the test anyway. So they said, you have it scheduled, but we're going to give you this test. The next day, an hour before the surgery, the surgeon comes in. He said, we got the results, and it is not an emergency procedure. You can be seen as an outpatient and being taken care of that way. You don't have to do it now. I was so grateful to Hashem that he protected me and helped me through this. But it brought me back to, how did I get there? I was neglecting my health. I was neglecting the things I used to do and I avoided doing because I was so focused on all these expectations that were asked of me. But now Hashem reminded me that if I align myself with what I can do, I'm going to be in a very different place. And in that place, I can help other people the way they need it. So that's my personal story. So I'd like you to take your pen and the paper that you have and write this question down. What would you like to start to do? What would you like to start to do or to do more of? We have to think about ways that we can become healthier. So in order to answer such a question, we have to be very specific. We can't say, oh, I want to lose weight, I want to go to exercise, I want to eat healthier. We have to be specific. As ambiguous intentions lead to ambiguous results. You have to be very precise as to where you're heading. Basically, this is a way to get your GPS getting you to the exact location that you want. And it has to be achievable. You can't say, oh, I've never exercised before, but now I'm going to start exercising. So instead of saying, I'm going to go exercise, I'm going to go to the gym, you can say, I'm going to start to take a walk 3 times a week at 9 p.m. after dinner. Specific, simple, and achievable. The next question is, what would you like to do less of? I'd like to eat less sugar, but specific. I'm going to reduce the amount of sweets between 12 and 5. So instead of having 4 pieces of chocolate, I'm going to have 1 between 12 and 5. So be specific, achievable, and clear. Remember that every day, life is a series of decisions. Any small change and another small change can add up to a big change. It's all about consistency. That is the biggest key, to be consistent. So that's when we start with small steps. Because once you see yourself, oh, I did the small step, you say, okay, I can handle this. Then you add a little small step and you can expand on that. The third question is, what would you like to stop doing completely? Because there are certain habits and unfortunately things that we do that are not either safe for us or are harmful, that we really need to just stop doing. So the Zohar says that we are defined by our ratzon. Ratzon means desire. The Hebrew word, the beautiful Hebrew language, ratzon has the root word of ratz, resh and tzadik. Ratz means to run. Whenever you have a desire, a will to do something, that's when you run towards it. That's the motivating factor. If you don't have that motivator, if you don't have that will, You're not going to go into the class that you need to take. You're not going to go to the doctor's appointment that will help you get to where you need to go. Okay, so I'm going to stop the recording. Let's review what we wrote down. So one technique that Rav Yenuka was teaching is besamim. He said that in order to help our mind to be settled, you have Yeshuva Dat to bless besamim. Baruch atah mecholam boreh minei besamim, and smell it, because the sense of smell is the only untainted sense, one of the 5 senses that was untainted since Adam Arishon. Why? Because sense of smell is in the present. You cannot have smell in the past. You cannot have a smell in the future. It is in the present. And this is where Yud Kei Vav Kei, as the name of Hashem is Havaya. He is present. So when we are worrying, we're not in the present. You are worrying about the future. And some people who are depressed, they're worried about the past. But when we are bringing ourselves back to Yud Kei Vav Kei, to the present moment, that's when we are able to realize and appreciate where we are. That's where we're able to function. So there's a quote that Rabbanit Chassia said, someone who is sitting in the shade today is because someone planted a tree there a long time ago. Think about that. Visualize sitting under a tree in the shade. How are you sitting under that tree? Because someone planted it a long time ago. And that's what we need to do. We need to plant new seeds of our thoughts, of our actions, of our speech, so that way later on we will have a comfortable place to be. It takes time. And we have to be very patient and accepting of ourselves. And when we are not doing what our goal is set out to do, let's say on Monday I was supposed to go to the gym and I didn't go, you have to say, I accept and love myself for not going today, but I did have that intention. And be okay with not achieving, because Hashem is responsible for our success. We are only responsible for our choices and for our ratzon and for our will and motivation. We are responsible for that. The result is up to Hashem. How much weight I'm going to lose after following this regimen for 40 days, that's up to Hashem. I'm doing my part. So don't focus on the results, focus on the process. And be proud of yourself whenever you do succeed. Reward yourself. So in order to be successful in these goals, according to the Zohar, our environment plays a critical role. Our family, co-workers, the way you were saying, Marina, about your co-workers, friends, they have a huge influence on our thoughts and our behaviors. So when you recruit help from a friend or a family member, it's easy to show responsibility and accountability towards your plan. So you let someone know, just like we're doing here, we're allowed, that's what we're speaking about, what your goals are, what you're doing, so that way we can have accountability to what we're doing, to what we want to do, to what we want to achieve. So getting help to achieve our goals makes us more responsible, and that way we can stick to our plan. Okay, what was that?